What's good, everyone? I hope y'all are having a fantastic day today. I know I am, at least, because the same day that I'm writing this script is the same day the lads over at Madfinger Games released 23 minutes of raw gameplay over on the IGN page. I'm going to be going over it, give my final thoughts on it, and then send you lovely people on your way. So be sure to sub to the channel if you enjoy what you see today, and let's go ahead and dive right in. First things first, and kind of important, looking at the bottom right, this is pre-alpha gameplay, and if I'm not mistaken, this is of their Rat's Nest mission. I'm not going to be sectioning this off into what I think is good first and bad last. I'm just going to be going through, picking parts out that I think are interesting or noteworthy, and going from there. I'm not looking for perfection, you shouldn't either, but with that being said, this game looks unbelievably good. I know the vegetation has a tendency to pixelate recordings, but when there's not much going on, it's looking insane. The view distance, the lighting, the shadows, even the amount of detail on the models looks beautiful visually. Now, around the 4-minute mark, we get to see the first bit of gunplay, and while the guns don't sound horrible, they sound a tad bit flat for the environment this is taking place in. We also get to see what it looks like when you're being suppressed by bullets because the screen will blur. It's not like you'll get tunnel vision and the sides of your screen will blur, it's kind of random. Do I think this is going to become an issue while in gunfights? I mean, I'm not 100% sure myself. We kind of see how this can affect you fighting someone at the 16-minute 40-second mark, but other than that, I kind of like this detail. So about 30 seconds after this, we see Dave take a shot at a scav in the distance, and one thing that stands out is when the scav takes the shot, he just nonchalantly skedaddles to his right before being dropped like a 20-pound bag of shit. While this looks great and all, I would like to see the scav do some form of evasive movement when they're being shot at. For example, if the scav is hit, he either goes prone or he sprints as far as he can away from the shots. Even if they miss, seeing a scav do things that a player would probably do in this instance would add a whole new level of depth and detail to this game. At the 5-minute 40-ish mark, we get to see a little bit more of a closer encounter and one that you can actually kind of see better than before. Having these gunfights in the middle of the street to progress into your mission is going to be where a lot of fun is going to be had, in my opinion. Especially when you and your buddies are running comms and you can coordinate different movements. At the 6-minute 20 mark, we see Merrick take a hit and then two indicators in the top left pop up. I'm assuming one of them means that he suffered a concussion and the other one means he got some sort of heavy bleed. We also get to see a quick menu for meds, grenades, and provisions, which I think is a huge W in my books. Merrick actually gets shot again and there's like some blood splatter that comes off his body, and if that's the case, that is a dope little detail that they added in. Also, the bandage animation looks really clean, really smooth. Kudos to whoever did that at Madfinger. Now, in the midst of that, we cut away to Dave, who drops a scav with a shot that would make Oswald happy, but I'm noticing that the ragdoll physics are a little scuffed. I have a feeling they're going to be making these more fluid in the future, so I'm honestly not stressing over it personally. And again, it's pre-alpha. I'm not expecting miracles, just a sense of what we're going to be doing in GrayZone. At the 8-minute 10 mark, we head into this little compound area and we get the closest we've been to the AI. First thing I notice is that this scav really didn't put up much of a fight in my opinion. He ran, he stopped, and got popped. We make our way inside the house, and it's not so dark to where you'll need a pair of nods, but dark enough to where if you're not careful, you're going to get dropped. I like when an environment has these areas where you seriously have to consider every possible angle, even when it's a tiny ass house like this. From here, we don't really see too much of anything different outside of some more gunfights. I will admit that the environment, the deeper you get into the city, the better it looks and feels visually. It feels like you've got to keep a constant eye out for someone peeking angles or hiding in the vegetation. The rest of the gameplay consists of more walking, more shooting, and then heading to the extraction to be taken back to camp. Overall, I think the gameplay was what we needed, right? Tons of animosity and suspicion about the game's legitimacy can finally be put to bed. Or so the fuck I thought. I might as well just jump into my final thoughts since I've got a lot to say about this. For my final thoughts, the gameplay was great in my opinion. Was it perfect? No, but I don't think it has to be. Things like the AI need some work, but it's nothing I'm stressing over. It would have been nice to see how the missions play out for certain factions, but at the same time, this is just to showcase how the devs envision the game being played. Could it have been less scripted? Sure, but again, they're showcasing as many aspects of the game as possible. The map is big, you're gonna walk a lot, If the devs went out and had action every 2 or 3 seconds, it would have made things unrealistic. Now, as far as what people are saying, it's no surprise that people are hesitant about a game that's being hyped to the moon and back. Hell, I mean, I've been hyping it on my channel, but if you ask anyone why they're hesitant, you're gonna hear the day before come up in passing. Listen, I get it, okay? The day before and Fantastic hurt the integrity of the entire indie scene by doing what they did, and even though we shouldn't forget what happened, I think we need to start moving on a bit. It's getting to a point where any indie dev is barraged with attacks of, your game is fake, your game is an asset flip, and it's unneeded. Now, while I'm not ignoring the fact that a lot of indie games come out as scams or they come out as asset flips, it does not need to be said about every fucking game coming out. But this also translates into some of the stuff I'm seeing on Big Fry or even Crash Games videos about the gameplay. People in the comments that demanded raw gameplay finally get it, and then they're like, it was mid, or this game is still fake. Question, what the hell do you want them to do? They didn't have to release gameplay of the game. They could have stalled and waited longer, but they wanted to showcase what they have at the moment, especially since so many people have been demanding gameplay from these people since the first devlog. Then you get the people that are like, they should have released a demo instead. Right. Okay, so they released the demo in the current state it's in. Okay, and if there's lots of issues, what do they accomplish by releasing the demo? Oh, but if it's not that, it's those that are worried about the future of GrayZone Warfare for no other reason than the fact that Madfinger really only made mobile games. For that, I say that dev time is dev time. If you think making games on phones doesn't mean shit when making a game like GrayZone, that's a severely bad take. I would argue that the mobile market is just as hard, if not slightly harder to break into than the indie space. The fact that Madfinger is known for a game like Dead Trigger 2, a mobile game that I actually really enjoy myself, that speaks volumes when compared to a lot of other studios. And last but certainly not least, we have the Tarkov clone comments. I'm thinking that anything that's open world and tactical gets called a Tarkov clone. Even something like Transients was being compared to Tarkov, which is ridiculous. All in all, I'm excited for what GrayZone has to offer for a lot of different reasons. I think the game has promise. I think it's going to make a huge impact in the space, and I can't wait to see what comes next personally. Most importantly though, Madfinger, GG's on the gameplay. Now I turn the mic to you. Let me know down below what you think about GrayZone after what we saw. And while you're down there, go ahead and consider hitting that like button and sniping that sub button. Also, YouTube can show you my content free of charge. And as always, I want to give a huge shout out to the current members of the channel. Thank you all so much for your support. Y'all are amazing individuals. This is Sir Blackout signing off to go find a ghillie suit. I will live in the trees and get prepared for combat. Later.